Hi everyone, Teresa Aker here from Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. It's my privilege today to present to you Debbie Roberts. How you doing, Debbie?
Thank you, Teresa.
Good. I'm glad you're here today. I'm going to do your biography and then we're going to come back to you. So, one moment here. So, Debbie Roberts is passionate about helping women build resilience and thrive in both their personal and professional lives. With over 40 years of experience across health, business, education, and not for profits, she has dedicated her life to guiding others through adversity. Her own journey, marked by challenges such as divorce, single motherhood, health issues, grief, and loss, has profoundly shaped her life and her work as a business coach, consultant, author, and community leader. Debbie believes resilience is not merely about toughness, but about embracing growth, change, vulnerability, and healing. She is a strong advocate for the power of sharing stories to foster connection, support, and a sense of community. Well done, Debbie. That's exactly what
Thank you.
Success Diaries is all about. So I was thrilled to have you on today.
So excited, and thanks for the opportunity, Teresa.
Yeah, my pleasure. Look, so let's start in the beginning. What got you started into this, Debbie?
To actual business advisory and consultancy, or just everything all
Into
packaged together?
everything. I think sometimes we do have adversity and that leads us into paths that we didn't expect. And I somehow suspect that might have happened to you.
Yes, I started my career as a nurse. I was a registered nurse over here in Australia, and it wasn't actually my first choice of career. I actually wanted to be an art teacher, but things didn't happen that way, and I went into nursing, which was a great career starter for me. I moved into the community, didn't particularly like working in hospitals after I finished my training, and then from the community, I started doing community education and then moved from that into working in youth drug and alcohol education around a Ronald McDonald House over here in Australia, and also did work with corrective services. I've worked in TAFE, which is like a tertiary education facility over here. I've gone a little bit because of things that have happened in life. I've gone maybe not the traditional career path, but for me, nursing was a good basis because it gives you really great communication skills and it links to my purpose in life, which I feel is to help people and make a difference, which I carry forward into my business consulting business and a lot of not-for-profit work.
Yeah, excellent. I actually agree with you. I think sometimes we do these professions and even sometimes our jobs when we're going through school or part-time job, they give us what I like to call a toolbox. And you just get to fill that toolbox as you go and use it for different purposes later on. And you're always surprised. You think, oh, I did that and that actually helps me in this field. And your nursing would take you so many areas and so many advantages that a lot of people wouldn't have. So well done, Debbie. And I know that you like your nonprofit organization groups, and that's quite a interesting niche in life to have. I know people who do nonprofit, and it's not as easy as it looks, but it's extremely rewarding, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And the challenge you have is you're trying to help people.
Yeah.
That's the primary core of a charity, but you have to often raise funds to do so. And there's a lot of really great charities, and you've got to compete in that area like you're a business. So I think it really does. It's not as simple as, like you said, to run a charity or work in a charity because you can't do that without having a heart and have
Yeah.
that passion
Yeah.
for the workplace because you actually are making a real impact on people if with a charity, depending on the charity, different target groups, etc. And to be honest, it's very similar in business. You make a difference to people's lives in the types of things that I do. Because if your business runs well, then you'll have the income you need to live the life that you want.
I agree with that. And I know you're doing consulting. We have a bit about that in your biography. What consulting do you do? What do you do for people, or is it just organizations? What are you doing, Debbie?
Very varied, and it does actually come, as we mentioned earlier, from my career path and all the experience, knowledge, and skills I've built. So, things that I do is I give advice to businesses on how to start up. I don't give financial or legal advice. I work a lot with not for profits, so we can look at the different systems that they use, goal setting, looking at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats within their business so they can hone down on what needs to be done to grow their business. I write policies and procedures. I write business documents. I do vision boards. I do team building activities. Because what happens is because of the relationships I've built over the years in our local community, particularly, people go, "Can you do this?" And I'm like, "Mm, I've done that before. Yes, I can. I'll custom make it to suit your business needs
That's
or
perfect.
your not for profit needs, whichever the particular group it is that I'm working with."
Whichever one you're working with at the time. Well done. I know it takes extreme organizational skills, and you're very personable. So you would be on the
Thank you.
phones and talking to people about contributing, and that's a big one. And it's actually hard for people to ask for money, isn't it? Some people, not you.
Yes. It is actually a bit of a challenge because nobody wants to hear no,
No.
whether it be in business or life. But for me, I learned that when we're asking for money when I'm working for a charity, I always ask the question, why would someone want to donate to our charity versus someone else? Because there's so many very important charities. So you've got to look at the business outcomes for a business to donate, or what is that connection that will make someone want to donate to this cause over that cause.
If I asked you today, Debbie, let's say I have a business and I come to you as a consultant, can you give us perhaps a couple of tips just to get us started? What would be some good advice for business people starting out or growing their business? Would you have some ideas?
Definitely have a plan.
Okay.
People unfortunately just start and they go, "I'm just going to start a business." They don't register their business. They don't have insurance. They don't have a plan. They don't have a budget. They don't know how to manage money. And I don't know why people forget that they actually still need to pay tax to the government. We all have to do it in every country in the world. So you know that. So put that money away every week so it's there ready when you've got to pay your tax. And also have good relationships. So within your business, make sure that you have those good relationships with your employees if you've got them or your other business partners. Clear communication is very important. And obviously, the same flows over with your customers. Clear communication. Make sure that you deliver what you promise. If you can't deliver what you promise, then at least communicate to your client or your customer. "I'm so sorry I couldn't deliver this. This is why, blah, 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 blah. This is why, and this is what I will do to try to come up with a solution." Because most
Beautiful.
people are pretty open minded if you at least communicate about a problem.
Yeah, I've always found that in business too, Debbie. I think honesty is number one, the best policy. And if you do something, everyone makes mistakes. Companies understand that. Make sure
Exactly.
that you, as soon as you do, clarify it, what you're going to do to rectify the situation and do it immediately. And I think most companies respect that because they've certainly had mistakes done in theirs too, right?
Exactly. So own it. Own your mistake and come up with a solution. I think so many people just go, "I've got a problem. Here, you fix it." We all have a responsibility if we are part of the problem to also be part of the solution. And I know when I had staff, it was always they came to me with a problem, like, "Okay, if you're going to come to with a problem, at least have some possible solutions you've thought about," which is good for them to think about. Okay, that's the problem. What is the solution? And then come to their manager or the owner of the business and say, "This is the problem as I see it. These are some possible solutions. Please guide me in the direction."
Perfect. I like that.
Mm.
Absolutely, 100%. Now, do you do most of your business from home, Debbie, or do you travel?
I do some on Zoom, but also I do go to clients depending on where they live. The furthest I've traveled probably is about 100 kilometres from home for clients. Once again, depends really what their need is.
Do you work with the employees as well, or just the business owners?
I have in one particular company, I do some regular work for, so I develop a lot of policies and procedures for them.
Okay.
And then they wanted me to come and do some training on certain policies to check the knowledge of the employees. So to check that, yes, they'd read the policy, but they understood how policy would play out with some scenario-based questions like work health and safety, for example.
Perfect. And what about follow-up? Do you go back and follow up with them and continue on that way?
Yep. So this particular company, I'm doing regular development of policies and procedures for them.
So you
So we
just
keep checking it. Yep.
perfect. So you have absolutely so a next level plan, and you Absolutely. And then you probably have an exit plan, so that's good. Yeah. Excellent. Honestly, Debbie,
Plans, lots of plans.
yeah, you're absolutely extremely well organized. And I know that your business, so you're doing really well. So tell us, if I was to say, think about where your business is going in the next 5 years, what's your plan?
My plan is I'm really looking at 2025 for me is about more creativity. So people have a one word for the year. Mine is creativity. I'm wanting to put more creativity into my business. So doing more creative kind of workshops. So that's where the vision boards, I've been asked to do vision board workshops. So I've started incorporating that. And number one, the clients really like it because they get to do things that are different than sitting down at a planning around the board table situation. But also, I really enjoy doing it. I get such joy out of doing it. It's a bit more creative for me to plan it and to deliver it. So I really love that. And I'm getting more using the creative side of my personality outside of the business I'm writing, I think I mentioned to you that I've just written a chapter in a multi-author book on resilience, and that gets launched in April. So I've always wanted to write a book, and the opportunity came up to learn the process and I've joined a program to help me write the chapter, which had always been a blocker for me mentally, is I don't know how to start, so I won't.
Ah,
So
got
I
it.
decided, you know what, this opportunity arose. I thought, now's the time. At 62, now's the time, and I'm going to do this. So I was involved in that. So that gets launched in early April. And then I'm actually started to write my own book, which hopefully will be launched for Mother's Day next year.
Oh, wonderful. Now, Debbie, can we circle back a little bit? The Success Diaries I started because I wanted to talk about success stories. And you mentioned that you've been through divorce, you've been through some grief, you've been through some challenges. Can you share something with us that you went through, how you got through it, and now you're successful on the other side? Would you do that for our viewers?
So I can. Probably the scenario, the example I'll give will be so I was married very young with my first daughter, Rebecca. So I had her at 19. I was just started my nursing training and very young, probably shouldn't have got married too young. Had her, that marriage did not work out for a multitude of reasons, and we got divorced when she was 3. Then I was a single mother for a few years, and then I remarried, then I had my other daughter. Unfortunately, it did not work out either. So then I was back being a single mum again. But at the time of the second divorce, my eldest daughter, Rebecca, was 7 and she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So it was very challenging. So this is in the 80s. So very different times back then. And younger people these days, when you tell these stories, they don't understand that times are very different. Each decade has differences. So it was very challenging. Number one, being a mum of 2 girls, single mum of 2 girls, working full time, and then one's diagnosed with diabetes. So that adds that other layer of complexity to your life of managing injections and diet and everything else that goes with that. Moving on, many years later, I did meet my present husband, who we've been together for 30 years. So he's amazing, my husband Peter. My daughter Rebecca, she had many challenges with her diabetes from the age of 7 to 20 when she passed away. Now, she passed away, yes, it was a very
I'm so
challenging
sorry.
time. Thank you.
Yeah.
She'd finally got her life in order. She'd just got engaged to the man of her dreams. She'd just enrolled into a technical college to learn some new skills. She was very happy, and then she also had hypothyroidism, so an overactive thyroid, and the two together, she was in hospital towards the end, probably every month in intensive care with everything going out of control in her body. And then we got the call that she'd had a heart attack. And then we had to go to the hospital with all the family gathered, and then we were told that she was actually brain dead. So it was, yeah, the worst thing anybody can have happen, obviously,
I'm
to
so
lose your
sorry, Debbie.
child before. Thank you. I think it's really important, actually. While I get emotional,
It's okay.
I don't apologize for it because I think people don't talk about things like this, talk about death and people that have passed, and I think that's actually a big problem. We need to talk about things. So luckily, I knew exactly what she wanted if we were ever in this situation because I'd spent many nights quietly with her in hospital. And we discussed organ donation, organ and tissue donation. And she always said, Mum, I want to do that if this ever happens. And in some ways, we were lucky in my family because we were a medical family. We discussed things like that over the dinner table. So I was very aware that when we're asked by the doctor, would we consider that? My husband and I knew definitely what she wanted, and her dad and his wife also said, if that's what she wants and you know what she wants, then yes, we give permission for that. So we were lucky enough to donate her kidneys and corneas, which I think was her final gift to us and to the world. Very challenging. What did I learn from that? I learned that if I can survive that, I can survive anything. It was not an easy road after. I went straight back to work 2 weeks after. Big mistake. I didn't allow myself time to grieve.
Yeah.
Worked hard and then started to slip mentally and slipped into quite a deep depression. Which, when I think about it now, reflecting back all these years, I'm like, why didn't I see that coming? I was a health professional.
Yeah, that
When it's yourself, you don't see it coming. So for me, I did have saw a psychologist for quite a long period of time, which was amazing because it made me realize the death of my daughter was only one thing that I was grieving in terms of loss. There were other things previously, and they all just compounded, and I hit rock bottom. But for me, I know that I can deal with anything if I can identify what the problem is. And when it's in yourself, that's the hardest thing. You got to acknowledge you've got a problem. And then I can come up with a plan. And then I can dig my way out. And I've done that many times with employment, relationship breakdowns, my own health issues, etc. For me, I think I'm a reasonably resilient person. So part of what I want to do is share the stories, tell the stories so that I can maybe help other people that are in similar positions to know they too can come out of it. And there's always going to be ups and downs in life. Life is not a smooth, straight line. We've got to roll with the punches as such.
Debbie, thank you for sharing your story. We actually talked before we did our
Yes.
podcast, and I did know that, and I'm
Yeah,
tremendously sorry about your loss. I too lost a child, and it's the most
I know.
devastating thing in the world. I understand that. And I also understand the grief. So I empathize with you, and it takes strong
As do I with you.
mothers. It does. Thank you. It takes strong mothers and strong people and a lot of support around when you're going through the grief, when you're so upset. And I too was like you, where I went back to work right away, thought I can handle this. And it was a few months down the road, it just hit me like a tsunami wave one day. And I thought, where's this coming from? And it was awful. And I do understand
Sorry.
what you went through, Debbie. And thank you for sharing. Honestly, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Main thing is to people need to ask for help. If and I was surrounded by a lot of support, but I also was probably pretty good at masking masking things.
I think because we're women, and I'm not saying that men don't, that's not what I
No,
mean, but I think women nurture so much other people. I don't think we take care of ourselves enough. Would that be a fair statement? That's very general.
I would agree.
I'm not saying men aren't nurturing and they're certainly good
I
fathers.
believe that's exactly what happened in my case.
Yes,
And
I
I
think
think it came to the nursing background. I often
yeah.
have times where, am I the mum or am I the nurse? Who am I in this situation? Am I the sister? Am I the daughter?
Or the
Which hat
wife,
am I wearing today? The wife,
right?
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Or daughter, if your parents are still there and you're taking care of them. So I think we
Yep,
do take care of so many people. We forget if we don't take care of ourselves, we go down. We can't help anyone else. So Debbie's
exactly right.
Debbie's advice to all of you is so important. Get the help as soon as you can. I certainly got help too. And I think it's just, we don't want to face those things, but the sooner we face them, the sooner we feel better and we can get through it. And it's not to say that those losses aren't tremendous. It's just that because they're tremendous, we need more help. I think that's
There's always help there, always. You've just got to find it and find
exactly.
the type of help that suits whatever your particular issue is.
Exactly. And I have had the privilege of meeting people that also are not consultants, sorry, professionals to do with grief counseling, and they're amazing. There's a lot of people out there willing to help. So that's great, Debbie. And I'm glad that you got through it. And now you're a successful businesswoman, and I know your daughter is proud of you and your family here is proud of you, and well done. So I want to say that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Now,
it.
I know you have a book coming out. I know that you're doing business. Where's the best place if somebody wanted to reach you today to get you? And I'll have all your information on here, but what's the best place?
I do have a website, so www.debbieroberts.com.au. So I'm down here in Australia. Also, you can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Okay.
So all of those places, and my contact details are on there.
And do you have a YouTube channel? I'm just asking.
I do, but it's not as great as yours, Teresa.
Oh,
I have it. It's
thank
got
you.
a couple of things on it.
I wanted to ask that because if people could go over to Debbie's social media and subscribe to some of these channels for her and definitely follow Debbie because she has some great advice for you. For counseling side or consulting side, they can reach you and you do your courses online, I'm thinking most of them.
Yes, I can do stuff online. I can do one-on-one sessions. Depending what the issue is, some things are a bit harder to do if you're not face to face, I think, but I can do, I've done workshops, etc., online as well. It just depends on what the need is of my customer.
Yeah,
And sometimes I can't meet that need if it needs to be a hand-on activity.
I understand
So,
that. And I
yeah.
have one more question, Debbie. Will you come back and see me again on the show and do another episode?
Yes, I will. I will. And I'm coming over to Canada in 2026.
Oh, fantastic. You have to let us know when you're in Canada.
Life goal.
Oh my goodness, our neighbor from
That's one other
Australia.
thing, actually. Always have goals. I think that's
Oh,
really important to have something to look forward to.
absolutely. Well done. Oh, I'm thrilled you're coming to Canada, coming to my homeland. This is awesome. You have to let me know when you're here, Debbie.
Will
Thank you.
do.
Oh, wonderful. And I'm glad you're going to come back to our show. Everyone, this was Debbie Roberts. She is a consultant. She works with nonprofit organizations and businesses. Do reach out to her. Thank you again, Debbie, for joining me today. This is
You,
Teresa.
Teresa. It's been
Thank you.
wonderful.
Oh, thank you. This is Teresa Aker from Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. Please subscribe to my channel. I hope you're all having a great day, and I look forward to talking to you all very soon. Bye-bye now.